Okay, folks, let's see if I have enough power on my phone to basically make a video. It's day 142 of Nofap, doing an update. Luckily, nothing ran out into the street while I was, getting onto the road to drive. I know there were some cats and rabbits around here. It's kind of a concern of mine. I gotta sort of pay attention to that sort of stuff when I'm leaving for work. Last thing I want to do is have that sort of thing happen. But anyways, like I said, it's day 142. I know you guys didn't see that, but there's a guy crossing the road. It usually doesn't happen out here at this time. Wonder what's up, so I had to stop. But anyways, so yesterday after work, I did record like an additional vlog, but it was mostly like, I guess you can see I was just kind of ranting about some stuff at work. There are some things that are frustrating me yet again. So every like at the end of every pay period, obviously you submit your hours for like when you worked, and then there's this additional thing called Planisware, where it's just another HR like thing where they're trying to like track like how you're spending your hours and how you're spending your time and that sort of thing. And I don't know if it was the Planisware thing or if it was just it's probably my regular sort of like time card for pay that triggered this. But the manager reached out to me and was like, asking me about that night that I stayed, like several hours late. Like, oh, what was I doing there so late? And I mean, I explained to her in detail what happened. Like I messaged her back on Slack. I didn't or at least I tried not to sort of come off as like, annoyed or angry, or so I just explained, what happened, But basically, I had to explain how I was assigned to build all those, or make all those boxes, set those boxes, and how my build partner had to leave. So I was there on my own, and I was told that I could, do that without having verification and that sort of stuff, because there's no actual build going on. I was just setting up boxes, and then I gave the list of the numbers of boxes I had to make, which is why, I put it, that why it took so long, because I didn't have a build partner to split the workload. I just was there on my own. But obviously I was kind of ticked off. It sort of seemed like it was a case of like no good deed will go unpunished, or something of that nature. Like I would think that someone would check on the schedule and look at that and go, oh my god, like we had this guy building, I don't know, it was more like it was 300, almost like more like 400 boxes, setting up 400 boxes, and some of those they have extra parts. You have to have them like inserts and all that, so it's not like you just make the box and you're done. It's that you got to add stuff to it. Little like cardboard holders for different reagent bottles and stuff of that nature. So it's not like you just sort of snap your fingers and suddenly you got 400 boxes. It's like it takes some time, especially if you're all there on your own. And yeah, so that was on my nerves. Then the supervisor finally got around to scheduling the one-on-one, which, I mean, we were supposed to have like 2 weeks ago. And, as is always the case, like, I have to sort of, I'm going to turn out the air right now, because I think I got it heated up enough. Maybe like anybody who's listening can hear me, but as is always the case with these one-on-ones, it's sort of like, in between them, you're kind of thinking, okay, like, who else is, keeping tabs on me and, like, writing notes up or, making complaints or, trying to find stuff to sort of, throw at me and see if it sticks, that sort of thing. To the supervisor, and like passing that on to her. And of course, the more time that goes on between one-on-ones, obviously there's more likelihood of, oh, maybe I made a mistake, or somebody just got annoyed at me, or they made, that sort of stuff. But from the sounds of it, I mean, look, I know that stuff is probably going to come up, and it's really annoying, because it's like in a lot of these cases, it seems like it's sort of a case of like, okay, obviously it's not all one person. Okay, so like this is still recording, but low battery. I'll have to put on the charger when I get to work. Hope it lasts through the rest of the drive. But anyways, yeah, I got a low battery notification. Where was I? But it's sort of like, it takes two hands to clap, but one of the people, or three hands, whatever, three sets of hands to clap. I don't know. But one or two of the people don't want to like admit that maybe they were at fault. Maybe they played their own role in it. They want to sort of put it all on me or so. Like there was a situation, like it was like a week or two ago, where that build partner showed up 20 minutes late. I had the forms already printed out. I decided I was going to go use the restroom quick. In the midst of that, she shows up, heads into the lab, and then, does whatever, the work for that first build, just printing labels. And then she, like, I don't know if she complained about me or if whoever, the scheduler, just decided to change the build partners, and I didn't get any notification. And by the time I get out there to, like, see, okay, who's my build partner, or where the build partner is, the new guy's all like, ticked off at me, like, where were you? Where'd you go? That sort of thing. And it's like, no one let me know, or even like send me like a quick message, hey, by the way, I changed whoever the build partner was, blah, 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 So, stuff like that. But supposedly the supervisor wants to focus on the pipe calibrations, which I'm sure I'm probably going to get some freaking complaints about that I took too long, or oh, this isn't that complicated, why are you complicating it, and I'm probably gonna have to explain to her. No, I will have to explain to her about like some of the complications relating to setting up a time with the actual trainer who was apparently unavailable for like 3 freaking weeks. He'd come in like 2 or 3 days out of the week, and then even most of those days he wouldn't be available. He'd apparently have other things to do, and it's always like, getting him to take, even a fraction of his day to go and like train me, or like sign off on this or sign off on that. Just having to deal with so much freaking attitude from a guy like that, which I might not go into that aspect, but there have been other issues, other factors in why it would take so long, and things of that nature. Then, I mean, I don't want to be going and complaining about my actual like trainer who basically is on the reagent manufacturing team, and she's supposed to be sort of my mentor, but I don't know, her approach to things is almost like not only do I like the lowest priority, but it's almost like she's annoyed to have to train me on anything, or show me how to do this or that, or be taking my questions or so, and basically trying to like frame things as if I'm not being proactive, when so many times I've been proactive, I've gotten like shot down by whoever I was working with, one of the more senior technicians, telling me like, oh no, we don't need to do that, or just chill, or hold on, hold your horses, that sort of thing, and then being told I'm not being proactive, when so many of the times, like, either A, it's a new process I'm just learning, or B, if I'm trying to be proactive, I get shot down, you know, until like I need to chill, or now it's not the time, or no, here's what's going on, or whatever the case may be. But of course they'll come back later on and say this guy's not being proactive, and it's like, anyways, that was kind of like what I was ranting about in the video. I ended up deleting it, but didn't upload it. But I also have been in contact with one of my old coworkers from the last job, and at least from the perception I got, if I wanted to go back, I could. It might be weird if I did. I know of one guy who did work there for like several months, and then he left, and then I think about a year later he returned and went back to his old position, and then like I think about a year or two later, after he'd worked in that position, he ended up, you know, going to process dev, so he was able to make that switch somehow. But yeah, you know, I've thought about that, and if it comes down to it, I mean, I would. I know there were downsides to it. There was a long commute, there were the long hours, and obviously there was stuff like, you know, some of the politics and so on, but I mean, I was somehow able to get through a year and 3 months over there, you know, and make all the money I made, do all that kind of stuff. I was somehow able to do that. I don't know how. It did wear down on me, and I definitely did need a break from it, but you know, somehow I was able to do that. And it's more so as I'm increasingly becoming of the mindset that you know, I've been trying to figure out career advancement all this time, which is one of the reasons why I was open to, you know, switching jobs to get different perspective on things. But it just kind of seems like, you know, in my case, everyone's, you know, journey or everyone's process is different, but it seems like in my case, I gotta do a lot more work to sort of get a lot of those results. It's kind of like if I was talking about building wealth. For some people, you know, various factors being what they are, sometimes it is that they made better decisions than me when I was younger. Some of them it's because their families made better decisions than my parents made, or even their grandparents. Or maybe it's like that they were born into a wealthy family where their great-great-great-grandparents or great-great-or-great-grandparents, you know, struck it rich somehow, made a, you know, built a successful company, and they, you know, they inherit a trust fund or whatever, and, you know, they finish off their, you know, undergrad or their grad school or their, you know, PhD or whatever with zero debt. And for them, building wealth, if they even needed to build wealth, would either consist of just, you know, stacking enough cash, investing in the right things, and or just preserving their wealth. Just, you know, okay, I'm gonna not squander my trust fund. I'll have it invested in, you know, XYZ, you know, vehicles for investment, and I'll only take a certain percentage of it to cover costs of them or whatever. You know, they'll just manage the money that they already have coming to them, and that's like, you know, it's more preserving wealth than building wealth for them. The concept of, you know, debt doesn't even exist in their mind because they don't owe anybody any money. They never have, and they probably never will, because, you know, they don't need to. They don't have to go, okay, I need to get back to zero before I can even go into the, you know, positive values or to the green zone, green area of, you know, of sort of the barometer of finances, you know. But like with me, I use the money example because I can quantify it. Kind of like in my situation, I would have to pay off all that debt first, and then I could go and say, okay, I'm going to build wealth now. I'm going to put money together. It's kind of like, I feel like with other areas of life, I'm going to have to first get that master's degree, and if I can somehow rectify my academics enough to get into a PhD program, then you know, by the time I've gotten that done, I'll have the credibility in the minds of of any potential employers to basically be able to do, be able to do what some of these other folks, are able to do right out of undergrad, And it kind of sucks because, I know there's other factors that just make it unfair. And I know most people will hear that and call it whining because it's coming from a guy or a guy like me. But they're the rules. It's the rules. It's the way the world is. I'm not willing to accept, abuse or being taken advantage of. But if it's just like, okay, you're a man or you're a millennial or whatever, and you're gonna have to work 3 times as hard or do all this other stuff to sort of somehow have your value equate to this other person's value in the eyes of employers or whoever. Like I said, as much as it sucks and it can really make me angry or frustrated, I guess it's just what I'm gonna have to do. So if I've gotta go back to this old grunt job where I was doing cool work. I'm not saying it wasn't interesting or cool or fascinating or meaningful or purposeful, but if I've got to go back to that and just make that money that I can use to not only sort out my finances but also pay for these classes I need to take in order to get that master's degree, after which, assuming I have X years of manufacturing experience plus the master's degree, that at that point I'll have the kind of value to some potential employer that they'd be willing to throw 6 figures at me, and that's what I'll have to do. And it may suck, but it wouldn't suck as much as being unemployed or dealing with hypocritical, abusive bosses or coworkers, So I don't know. I gotta deal with some stuff today. Like I said, I kind of described some of them. The other one is this whole deal with this. It's like an annoying thing because the form for a manufacturing bill that I submitted a week or 2 ago, everybody signed off on it, but then there's one girl, she came back and she's I think she was on the second half of the build, and I guess she's in charge of scanning the documents into the database or so, but she came back and was oh, this doesn't make sense, you put here or whatever, and then I had to try and correct it, which then led to even further corrections that need to be made, and I haven't been able to get around to because I've had other stuff to do. And it's the thing that, and I don't know if somebody did come back further up, the manager, or if somebody from QC and was this doesn't make sense, correct this, or if it's just her, kind of overstepping her bounds, but coming back and saying that I gotta make all these corrections, and it's everybody signed off on it, what's the issue, if the supervisor or the manager was this needs to be changed, this needs to be corrected, that'd be one thing, but it just sounds like it's her assuming a certain level of authority that she really doesn't have the right to be claiming, which is kind of annoying, to put it lightly. I wouldn't be talking about it if it wasn't annoying or frustrating or whatever, but yeah. And the other thing that I probably want to mention or talk about is something a little more philosophical. It's sort of ironic, but I guess to be expected. It's sort of if you want to advance your career, definitely there are upsides to taking on the kinds of responsibilities that would let you do that. But sort of the downside of it is, this is something that I think I don't think a lot of people talk about. But it's sort of if you want to be getting ahead, you're going to have to be dealing with a lot more stress and anxiety. It's kind of if I think I'm getting it bad, you have to almost wonder what the supervisor and the manager and the director of manufacturing, what they all deal with, Because I'm pretty sure, like, for instance, one of the reasons why that supervisor snapped at me that one time a few weeks ago when I forgot to, like, flip some Kanban cards and have, like, the material supplied to the lab was because the manager was out. Apparently she had COVID, and I mean, I guess she's good now, so this is why she's back at work. But the supervisor is basically in charge of everything, and if something did go wrong, like, somebody's going to be bringing the hammer down on her. So I mean, that's probably why she was that much sensitive to any problems like that, So, and I wish I could, like, relay that I understand that, but at the same time I don't want it to become it sounds like he's okay with us, yelling at him sort of a thing. But at the same time, like, I didn't like how that was handled, It would have been one thing to be called out into the hallway and I would know, okay, I'm in trouble, but it would have been a lot better way of handling things than just yelling at me while there's 2 or 3 other people there in the lab and they get to sort of, see that happen to me. So anyways, I don't know. I'm just going to try to get through the day and take care of myself when I get back home, because I don't know. The way the days have been going, sort of thing, I've been neglecting some stuff, like in terms of, like, I guess you could say personal care, but also I really didn't get anything done for my class yesterday, which apparently the in-class activity the professor made optional for, like, bonus points, which I still would be trying to do, but I also wanted to get some homework problems done for obvious reasons. I mean, get done ahead of time, not have to stress about that at the last minute, the usual. But I guess I'll have to try to be taking care of that today after work. And I don't know about a lot of the stuff here, because it's like, the one hand, like, you want to go and do some extra work, because then it's like, okay, it shows that you're not lazy, you're not doing the bare minimum, you're not just barely scraping by. But then it also seems like if you go and do that, they're going to be like, well, why are you here so many extra hours? What's going on here? It's like, maybe you don't assign me 5 or 6 things to do in a single day, and then have, the build partners, disappearing, or leaving at a certain time, and me being left there to handle all this stuff, knowing that if I don't go and do this extra work, it's almost like damned if I do, damned if I don't. If I don't get those boxes set up because I'm the only one there and I'm not going to stay there till 10, then I'm going to get yelled at or given a bunch of attitude the next day, because all the folks who are doing that build will have to take the time to set up those boxes. But if I stay there late, I'm going to get attitude too, because it's like, well, why are you here so long? What were you doing here so late? Like, I don't know. They got to figure that stuff out as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it's sort of like, well, what are your expectations? Especially when people are, like, just constantly changing the schedule and not notifying anyone, just expecting that, I'm aware of it, so therefore they must be aware of it. It's like, no, not everybody's aware of that. Just because you are, just because you're the scheduler, doesn't, that's not how it works. But I could get into a lot of quote-unquote, I guess, controversial topics from all this sort of stuff, my observations, but anyways, I'm almost at work. I'm actually early today. It's kind of weird, but anyways, it's a good thing, but it's weird. So I'm not used to that right now. I mean, know I went to sleep early last night, which is probably why I was able to get up when I got up. I was just way too exhausted. And, you know, the term demoralized pops up in my head. I think that's sort of like, people were to ask me like how I quote unquote feel about certain things in life in general, but I like saying work in particular. It's like the word demoralized is what I'm feeling. I don't want to use words like depressed or sad. It doesn't really describe it. It's like demoralized. And while in some sense I kind of did feel that, at the last place. Sorry, I saw somebody running along the side of the road, and I was like, I thought it was somebody from the past, and I'm like, wait, no, it's not that person. Like, what are they doing here? Anyways, well, I have felt, you know, to a certain extent that at the last job, it wasn't like, in retrospect, it wasn't as acute as it is over here. I mean, as long as I was doing my job, and there were things that I would do where it was like I would be really getting that work done, I'd be knocking things out, and, you know, I would at least get some compliments. It just kind of seems like over here, where it's like, what's the way? I was reading something on Reddit where somebody's talking about some situation where it's kind of like always sort of just dealing with criticism. And people, you know, like, okay, what are they going to tell me I did wrong this time, as opposed to tell me, here's what you've done right, here's what you could improve on, sort of thing. It's more like, it's almost like the only compliments they'll give will be the times they don't tell you anything. It's kind of like, okay, if I'm not saying anything, then you're doing your job right. But if I'm saying something, it's because you're doing your job wrong, or you're screwing up on something, you know. But anyways, guess I'll see you folks around. I gotta charge this phone before I can really do anything else with it. So, Nofap day 142. Like I said, I'm feeling demoralized, but trying to just keep up my habits so I don't end up in a bad spot. So, trying to handle things the best I can. But I'll see you folks around. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.